Hey, what's going on, gang? What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal, Steele, coming to you live on a Saturday Night Live here on Steele Live. We've got just a great show lined up for you tonight. Just a great show lined up for you tonight. Some cool and interesting things to get into and talk about. It is great to see you guys. Firstly, if you could all just take a moment to smash that like button. Listen, folks, I want you to smash that like button just like you would smash your childhood celebrity crush. Takes a split second of your time. Well, hopefully, if you actually smashed your childhood celebrity crush, that wouldn't take a split second of your time. But it's the number one thing you can do to help a newer channel like this out and get it in front of more viewers and expand its reach. Also, if you're brand new here, I'd like to personally welcome you. I am Steele. You're watching Steele Live. And we've just got a great little community here, and we'd love to have you sync up with us and our vision here as we keep growing this thing and having a lot of fun on our ascendance to the moon and beyond. Then also, membership tiers are now available. You just click the link pinned at the top of the chat to see those options. And so that's exciting stuff. And if you feel free to super chat anytime throughout this show, that's obviously greatly appreciated. Ask me whatever questions or comments that you want, or my co-host as well. And we will do our best to prioritize and field those. Good to see you guys. Who do we got in here? We got Mr. Zero Fox. Welcome. Alan Schneider. Welcome. Look to Leap For. Welcome. Ariel. Welcome. Slay Blaze. Welcome. We also got Bluey Vuitton. I like that. Bluey Vuitton's a really great username. Of course, Josh Randell disavows. Welcome. Guys, we are going to have a lot of fun tonight, so strap yourselves in, relax, kick up your feet, have your sip of tea, ice water, or stiff drink or wine, whatever your preference is, and we're just going to get to it. We're going to do it to it. But without any further ado, I am going to bring in my co-host for tonight, a man that needs no introduction, the one and only Charles Atlas of Dogecoin millionaire, Nick Ballz. What's going on, Nick?
Hey, what's up, Steven? So funny every time you call me that. It's my grandma always, she's like, you look like Charles Atlas. And I didn't know who that was until a few years ago.
And then you did a Google search?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, it is pretty appropriate, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't help but think of you as the Charles Atlas of Doge, and so your grandma knows her stuff. Welcome, Kitty Felines. Welcome, Evan May. Welcome, RW. Yes, indeed. Sliding Edges in the house. Josh Randell, disavow, starting things off right and out of sight with a $10 super chat. Here's some ass bucks, bro. That's the kind of guy I am. I appreciate that, Josh. Appreciate you, and thanks for kicking things off with that nice super chat. Slay Blaze asked Nick, wasn't he the first Mr. Universe? Oh, Charles Atlas, you mean?
Yes. Yeah, he was. In fact, I am holding in my hand right now a Charles Atlas advertisement from a newspaper that my grandma clipped out for me. I keep it in my room. And it's for one of his training programs back in the day.
You're kidding.
Yep, holding it right now. You can hear it. It says, "Listen, runt, she's mine." And it's a little comic of this scrawny guy on the beach. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he ends up taking the Charles Atlas protein pills or whatever the heck they were selling back then. And, of course, he buys the Hercules 2 Charles Atlas, training book, and he gets jacked. And he goes to the beach and he punches the bully in the face and steals the girl back, and I love it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like an old school comic book strip kind of advertisement where the guy goes from zero to hero with the aid of the Charles Atlas program and protein shakes or whatever.
Yep. So I've been meaning to get that framed, but I've got so much crap in my room that I don't have any room for it. But as soon as I get my new place, I'll probably get that one framed. Yeah,
right on. Yeah, I love that stuff, man. I know exactly the campaign you're talking about. Sliding Edge coming with $2 super chat. Thank you, Edge. Appreciate you. My grandfather would have invested in Doge ducats. Buckets of ducats, as we used to say back in the day. Buckets of ducats. Let's see. You guys are talking about Gwen Stefani in the chat. I don't know. Let's see. Alan's talking about his first childhood crush. Yeah, that's a pretty solid, admirable first crush. I got actually a little story about Gwen Stefani. This is going to date me a bit now, but I was a very young man, just fresh out of high school when No Doubt first started, right before No Doubt first started blowing up. And they were touring college venues back in the day. Obviously, this was before they got super popular. And I went to see them with a friend of mine and at the university closest to where I lived. And we talked to Gwen Stefani after the show. Now, my friend and I had started a t-shirt company back then. And, hindsight's always 20/20, but we really blew it on this t-shirt company. And that will make sense shortly. But we started a t-shirt company back in the day called Wet Cherry. And it was a kind of a ridiculous t-shirt company that was a lot of parody graphic kind of tees, kind of really kitschy stuff. And anyway, we made a lot of girly tees. And this was just right when we first started it. So we showed a couple of our designs to Gwen Stefani and she loved them. And so we loaded her up with, we had 2 or 3 different t-shirt designs then. So we loaded her up with a dozen of them in her preferred size. And they're kind of like baby tees. When girls used to wear those, they're kind of almost like half tees.
Crop tops.
Yeah, crop tops. Yeah. So so fast forward, something happened along the way where, I was so young, I didn't have a lot of capital to play with. So something happened where I got nervous and I think we both got cold feet because we were losing money, right? And we were so young. So we kind of just called it quits on Wet Cherry, on our t-shirt company. And wouldn't you know it, about, 3 or 4 months later, I'm paging through it was like Rolling Stone or Spin, one of those two. And there was now No Doubt started just absolutely blowing up after, from the moment after we had actually met her in this little college venue. And she had a Wet Cherry t-shirt on in one of the photo shoots.
Oh my God, you guys could be billionaires right now. Oh my
gosh. And just looking at that, I just felt my whole heart just sink, right? And I was just it's just one of those kind of landmark moments in your life where you chose the wrong adventure? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Dude, Tragic Kingdom was like one of the first CDs I ever bought.
Yeah. There's
95.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds about 95 sounds about right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was right around that. It was right around 94, 95, or the beginning of 95 when we met her. And so it was just one of those moments where I could just feel like my heart sink to my gut, and it was just like, oh, wow. I just totally blew it. And
there's an alternate universe out there where Wet Cherry is like the Louis Vuitton of current times. There's that's on the Marvel alternate timeline somewhere in the multiverse.
Yeah. I really wish we would have just, obviously pushed through and taken our temporary losses, and but you're so young then too. I mean,
what do you live and you learn.
I was like fresh out of high school. You know what I mean? So, but it is what it is, guys. But anyway, that's a pretty funny story. So Nick, there's this new kind of like video game mobile app that was launched today, and it's pretty interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, the name is pretty great. It's called Doge Disco, and the founder is the story behind it is pretty interesting. So it launched today, and it's kind of in the fashion of, I don't know if you remember the Pokemon Go phenomenon, but it's kind of in the kind of like that, where it's kind of got a virtual reality quality to it, where you walk around with your phone and you're hunting for Doge. And the thing is, the guy that launched the game, so the beta version launched today, guys. The beta version. So it's like an augmented reality mobile game where you can earn NFTs and real Dogecoin within the game. Now, the guy has planted in 1 million Dogecoin to find within the game. Now, what makes it even way more interesting is this Dogecoin was purchased, that he's giving away, this 1 million Doge was purchased in 2014.
I knew this guy.
Yeah, so the guy's name that created it, and I don't know if you know him personally, Nick, but his name is Gary LaChance, and he's out of Vancouver, and he is a fellow Dogecoin millionaire. So he, like you, purchased a bunch of Dogecoin in the same exact year in 2014, and consequentially, he's a multimillionaire now, just like you. I mean, from making a very similar decision as you at the same time, on the same timeline. We're talking 2014. What are the odds of that, huh?
I love it. I think it's great. I wish I knew something about augmented reality.
Yeah. So he said he's developed it in the style of Pokemon Go. Do you remember, like, a few years ago when kids everywhere were walking around with their phones, like in parks?
It wasn't just kids, Stephen. It was everyone.
Yeah.
And I was dating a different girl back then, and we had decided to take right when that happened, we took a vacation to Nashville, which, by the way, if you've never been to Nashville, I highly recommend Nashville. It is a freaking cool town.
I love Nashville. Yep.
We had a blast. We went down there for like a long weekend. I rented a condo. It was sick, but there's this park in Nashville where they have a recreation of the Parthenon, and it was packed. The park was just, and everyone was on their phones. I mean, it was thousands of people playing Pokemon Go. And then we caught some Pokemon and we went out to the downtown to get drunk. And we went to, for those who don't know, the listeners who don't know, Nashville is a very popular spot for bachelorette parties, and she brought me to, gosh, what was the name of that bar? The Ugly. They made a movie about it, Coyote Ugly. And next thing I know, I have my shirt off. I'm laying on the bar, and there's about 10 girls from a bachelorette party doing shots off me.
Wow.
And that's how our trip ended. Maybe if I can find that picture, maybe I'll post it on Twitter or something.
Wow.
But there's a photo of me laying on the bar at Coyote Ugly having girls do shots off of me.
That's so obnoxious, but sounds so fun at the same time.
It was a blast. I had such a good time. And we were actually, right before we went down there, we were about to break up, and then we went down there and rekindled our relationship. Ended up breaking up a couple years later, but
Naturally.
say
Yeah.
la vie.
Naturally, right? Yeah, so where were we? I forgot where we were.
We get off on tangents. Doge Disco.
Oh yeah, Dogecoin Disco, million Doge Disco. So it's going to be funny to see. I think if this game is designed as well as it appears to be from the description, this is something that has the potential to catch on outside of crypto enthusiasts. You know,
I remember this guy.
You do?
Gary LeChan. Okay, so back in the day, he had a few videos. This was way back. Yeah, in like 2014. He wears this like football pads with like cheetah print or leopard print, like fuzzy leopard print on them.
Yeah.
He's made a few videos back in the day. Yes, I totally remember this guy. Oh my god. He did a video, What is the Doge, way back in the day, and he had like a bunch of boom boxes behind him and these silly glasses on.
right?
I know who Gary. Yeah, I know Gary. I forgot what his Reddit name was. I used to talk to this guy back in the day on Reddit. I can't remember what his Reddit name was, but yeah, I remember this dude now.
So you remember talking to him like in the original core on Reddit of the original core of Doge enthusiasts.
Yeah, well, he was like, I think we think about the content creators now, right? Like you and Upshot and Batman and all these people.
Right.
He was like the original Doge content creator, and I don't know whatever. Like, I never checked back to see what happened with him, but clearly now he's got a mobile game, so good for him.
So he was actually a Doge content creator back then.
Yes, yeah. I can't remember. He made music videos or songs or like, I don't know. He made like music videos and stuff.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So he would make music videos too?
Yeah, he's like I want to say he's like a DJ, or he has some sort of like electronic music project or something like that. I'm just going off of memory here. It's been a while. So
Okay.
I'd like to catch up with him. I haven't talked to that guy in a long time. Probably doesn't even remember me.
I bet you he does. I bet you he does. Because
my username wasn't Ballz anything back then. So I had I didn't use my real name because I was kind of young, you know, like I don't know. I had like my Doge name back then. Maybe he remembers that. We'll see.
I think he would. And once you start talking and describing probably your interactions, I bet he would, because you wouldn't readily forget like the OGs that you were mixing it up with that made your life. You know what I mean?
Weird. It is. You would think, right? But back then, we all were like, first off, almost all of us were multi-dogillionaires because it was just so cheap. I mean, probably, you know, maybe some of us, I put in probably more than the average person, but, you know, everybody was buying tons of it. And we didn't think that was like special. You know what I mean? It's different now, way different now. But back then, like everybody had, you know, like, so, you know, it was just kind of like the community was all just kind of like all on the same level, you know, and everybody kind of went their separate ways. And some people I would assume actually most people lost all of theirs or sold along the way or whatever it may be.
Right.
I think there's a very small percentage of us who actually held on to it.
Wow. That is wild. It's got to be just a very tight circle, right, of people that held it all since that long ago. There has to be.
I mean, look at Bitcoin, for example. There's the infamous pizza story, but how many people who had Bitcoin in 2009, 2010 had tens of thousands of Bitcoin and either lost their password or sold it, or there's hardly anybody who got Bitcoin back then and then just forgot about it and still has it today. If they do, they're it's hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, tell me this. This kind of sparks another thought that I have in regards to your situation, which for as often as we talk and for as often as I have you on the show, Nick, I still am just continually fascinated with your story. And so my question for you in regards to that is this. Did you purposely forget about Dogecoin, your Dogecoin investment, that entire time in between before it came back since 2014, or did you accidentally, just genuinely forget, or was it a conscious decision where you're like, I'm just not even going to worry about this for a long time?
It's a weird kind of thing because I left crypto entirely. I was using cryptocurrency for about a year or so, and then I just left the scene completely. I kept everything that I had, but it wasn't like I knew it was there. I just didn't care to it. It just didn't mean anything to me, and I don't know. It's hard to describe. I knew it was there, and I knew I still had my computer that I had it on, and I knew the computer worked because I'd been using it. But I just never thought to check the markets. Occasionally I would hear some rumblings about Bitcoin hitting a certain price, or I don't even think I heard when Dogecoin hit a penny. I just didn't know. I had no clue. I just didn't look at the markets ever. And I don't know if that was conscious or not. I just don't know. It just never occurred to me to look into it.
Wow. So it was kind of, would you say you forgetting about your Dogecoin investment from 8 years ago? Would you say this was a deliberate effort or more? So would you say that was more of deliberate effort or accidental?
Probably leaning more towards accidental, but it wasn't like I didn't know it was there. Yeah. I always knew it was there, but I almost never thought about it. And from 2014, which, by the way, guys, I bought Bitcoin in 2012, I bought Litecoin in 2013, and I bought Doge at the very beginning of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Right after the project started, because the project started in late 2013. Mm-hmm. So I bought mine in February of 2014. So after that, going into 2015, I used it. I was using it and tipping and doing all this kind of stuff for a year, and then firstly, the exchange that I was buying Doge from got shut down, so I couldn't buy anymore. And after that, I was like, well, I've got millions and millions and millions of stuff. I guess I don't really need anymore, and I'm not trading it, and I'm not selling it, and I'm just kind of giving a bunch away here and there. And then I don't know, the novelty of it just kind of wore off, and I was I was in my early 20s. So yeah, I just kind of, I don't know, just lost interest.
Right. Gotcha. Well, good thing that you did lose interest. I mean, kind of ironically, it's good that you lost interest. But it sounds like from talking to you before about this too, Nick, it seems that, you had some inherent instinct for whatever reason, where when you stumbled across Doge, you just knew it was going to be a great long termer. And so do you think part of you just being able to shelve it for such a long time like that was due to that initial inherent certainty you had about it?
I remember when I bought Bitcoin, I bought it for nefarious reasons, and that's part of also the reason that I left cryptocurrency entirely, is because I had created a connection in my brain that connected, cryptocurrencies to nefarious things. I never used Doge for that, but and actually it was weird. Like when I bought Bitcoin in 2012, the community around, like I just didn't see like a very large Bitcoin community presence online. I mean, there was, but it just didn't seem like a lot of fun, and it just didn't seem like it wasn't popping, as the kids would say. But when I got Doge, it was popping. Like, it was a party, and it felt like kind of like when Doge hit 8 cents. It felt like that, but back then. Except the price, the price was just the price didn't matter at all. Like nobody was like freaking out about price movement at all, because it was just kind of where it was. But I could tell that the community was like a party. And I was like, this is going to be a party. This party might die out right now, right? It lasted like a year. The party was fun for like a year, and then eventually, parties end. And I was like, you know what? This party was so much fun for this year. I could almost guarantee you this party's going to come back sometimes in the future. And I just got a cool, like, it was just a fun time in the community. I was like, this is going to grow eventually, and I don't know if you call it whatever, premonition or whatever. I just knew that like the social metrics around it were much more powerful than Bitcoin. And I knew that was going to be very important sometime in the future. I had no idea when, but here we are. That is awesome, man. So who first told you, Nick, that Bitcoin was just like popping off, and when was it? I first heard it was on the news. I was like, maybe it was CNN or Fox or something. I don't know. I was at a restaurant, and I heard a news story about Bitcoin. This is when Bitcoin was, I want to say it was $20 per Bitcoin. And I heard about it, and a few of my friends who were into like tech, back then we were like, playing PC games, a lot of Counter-Strike and stuff, and we were all building computers, and so this was kind of like in that sphere of that friend group for me, where they were kind of ramblings about Bitcoin there. And so I was like, well, it's that's interesting, and like, well, then the Silk Road opened, and we all know what happened with that. So I knew that there was like, like the idea behind it was like sound, and like that you could be using this kind of thing for transactions on the internet money. I got the idea of it, and I got the concept. So that's when I first started buying Bitcoin.
Gotcha. Just fascinating. So which friend, so you learned about on the news that when you initially learned about on the news when Dogecoin was starting to make a big comeback.
that was Bitcoin. I have absolutely no clue where I heard about Dogecoin. It was not from a friend of mine. I don't remember. I have no clue. Maybe, I don't know. I was on Reddit back then. I imagine it was probably somewhere on Reddit, but I have no idea where I heard about Dogecoin. Like, I wish I could thank that person.
Well, what I'm asking you is, do you remember how you learned that Dogecoin was popping off after forgetting about it for so long? Who informed you of that? How did you learn that it was like doing really well?
That's another crazy story. Okay, so when Dogecoin hit 8 cents, I got a message from someone.
Yes.
Here's the problem. It was on Snapchat. So the message disappeared. I have no idea who it came from. But somebody messaged me, "Have you looked at Doge? It just hit 8 cents." And at that very moment, I looked at it because I was like by my computer and I saw the graph and I was like, "Oh my God." And I started freaking out so much that like I started tearing my room apart. I was trying to update my wall. I was calling my cousin. Like I was doing all of this stuff. Like my brain like just exploded. So I don't even remember. It's weird that I don't remember who initially told me about Doge, and I don't remember who told me about Doge when it hit 8 cents because like I just don't remember.
Right. So you don't remember who told you that Doge was going off again?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. What was the time?
Sorry, Steven. I wish I did.
No, that's okay. When do you remember entering back into the foray of Doge, where you were like it had your full attention again?
After I figured out that, I had to get my wallet hadn't been opened in 7 years. Like I had to first I had to get my wallet working, and there was I had my business partner's Doge on there as well. So like I owed him money, and like I had to make sure this wallet would work. Well, thank God for Reddit, because I went onto Reddit. There was a guy who was helping other people update their wallets and use North American node current node spec to like bring the wallets up to sync like faster. It took me, I don't know, maybe a week or 2 weeks to get my wallet updated because it just had not been updated in 7 years. And keep in mind, I'm trusting this guy from Reddit to like, I copied his code into my wallet, and even just doing that, I had my cousin come over here and like he was sitting on my computer and I was sitting on my laptop, and like he would read the first line of code to me, and then I would input the line of code, and then I would read it back to him, and then I would hit enter, and then I would put the next line of code in, and I'd read it back to like, it was like a very like dude, it was crazy. And I'm trusting whoever I found on Reddit, and thank God, because they did they did a great job. But they helped me like re-piece my wallet back together. And then like once I got that taken care of, it was like, oh, okay, all right, now we can start making moves.
Got it.
Then, I didn't have an exchange. Like I haven't been on an exchange. Luckily I had Uphold at the time, which was a garbage exchange, but it worked for the moment.
Gotcha. Yeah, Uphold. Yeah, so Uphold's still around. I know people were having they're having some issues with it.
It sucks, and the fees are insane. There was a point in those first few weeks when it was at 8 cents, I was like, Uphold's max withdraw is 10K a day, 10,000 per day. And I'm like, I was maxing their withdrawal like the first couple weeks. I'm like 10K. Like, because I didn't know, we didn't know where Doge was going to go. And like, I'm like, okay, I need to realize some of these gains, because who knows if this will happen again. Like no one knew what was going on. So yeah, those first few weeks were just bonkers.
So Nick, I'd like to pivot. We just got to talk about it. we got to talk about Baby Doge. If you wouldn't mind pulling a chart up on
I've got it right in front of me.
Okay, we've got to talk about this. It's just going bananas today.
Yeah.
And so why don't we take a look at what we're seeing here? I've got like a daily chart on my end, and I'm just rearranging my screen a bit for the audience. So what are you seeing on your end? We are in what would be described as a quintessential parabolic rise for baby Dogecoin today.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah.
It's interesting because I got approached by the Baby Doge community when they first started out, and as most people know, I don't support any knockoff Doge coins at all. Like, I just don't. I don't buy knockoff Doge. If people want to give me some, I'm not gonna. Like I've been lucky and fortunate enough to be gifted a lot of like startup projects. You know, from just nice people who want their whatever their preferred token is to or specifically BSC projects to get out there, and that's cool. And one of the Baby Doge people reached out to me, and I can't remember if they offered me tokens or not, but I never got a bad vibe from these people. Like I never, I never they were never didn't seem mean. They weren't like obviously they weren't like some other knockoff Doge coins that we know. They were all very nice people, and although I don't own any Baby Doge, I am extremely happy for their community, and I wish them continued success. I'm looking at the graph now. Obviously, there's been some steep sell-offs that have occurred because of what's going on, but all in all things considered, they're doing very well, and I wish them future success. Yeah, me too. I'm a little bit involved with Baby Doge, and it's because a few community members of Baby Doge reached out to me, and one girl just gifted me $100 in Baby Doge, and I said, that was very kind of you, thank you. And then a few other people from that community just messaged me just to tell me that they're fans of the show, and they're just being had just nice things to say about the show and said they're fans. And then after that, a few other people gifted me from the community, gifted me with some very small bags, but gifted me small bags of Baby Doge. So now I'm a Baby Doge holder consequentially to that. So I've been kind of unexpected blessing from from watching this thing go. Now, yesterday I was considering selling all my Baby Doge because it had been doing so well, and I was like, well, gee. But then I did a little bit more technical analysis on it, and I was also figuring too. I said to myself, well, if this thing's going bonkers today, a good day and a half after that big Elon tweet that inadvertently ended up pumping them very hard. If they're already getting if they're still getting this kind of rise a full day and a half after that tweet, I don't think this thing's over yet. That's what I told myself. And so here we are 24 hours later. It's gone up, it's doubled since then. So, I'm still hanging around. I'm still hanging around on, I would love to know.
Baby Doge.
I think you should do a deep dive on them, and maybe on the next show or something. Just bring some info to your viewers about like who they are, where they're from.
Right.
I like their project. I don't have any. Most people think I'm like anti-Doge knockoff. It's not that. I don't personally hold any.
Right.
But if they're a legit project and they're all their people, like the creators and stuff, are out there and they're known people, and we can get some sort of background info on them, and I think I think that'd be very good.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I think that I think it's mostly one guy that's the CEO and handling most of the business. I think now he's probably rapidly looking to take on a few people. I think he has to at this point. But he posted a video of himself a couple days ago talking about the project. I will say this because I just keep it straight, you guys. I try to report everything as unbiasedly as I can as information hits me. And this is what I can say about it. There have been a couple articles written about baby Dogecoin that say, what is baby Dogecoin? It's apparently Elon Musk's, new favorite crypto, and there's a few other kind of mainstream press articles that assume that Elon Musk was directly shouting out baby Dogecoin on the baby shark Doge tweet. Those of us who are more familiar with Elon Musk and his history with these things, I would say that's a very low probability that that's what Elon Musk's intentions are. I think Elon Musk has shown us, he's referenced the Baby Shark song several times in the past.
Yeah.
So he thinks it's a cute song. He's got a little boy that's around that age that would enjoy that kind of content as well. So I'm sure he probably plays it for him too. And he's just been always very amused by that song. And then obviously he loves Dogecoin. We all know this. So I think it was, and this is the first time I thought about baby Doge, because I had already thought about this where I knew that he loved Dogecoin, he loved baby shark, and I knew that tweet was inevitable. I didn't know how exactly he was going to phrase it, but I knew they were going to be in the same tweet and inadvertently give a nice pump to baby Dogecoin, and that's exactly what happened. And that's why I put a small investment into baby Doge on top of the baby Doge that I was gifted from some of the community members. But then again, you can't blame that community for running with it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't blame it. But in all transparency, guys, I don't think that Elon follows the BSC market very closely. I don't think he knows a lot about the BSC market, if I had to guess. What do you say, Nick?
I wouldn't. I don't think he follows BSC coins. I'm actually on their webpage right now. And I'm just trying to find out about it's pretty much like every other BSC 5%.
Some reflections there.
Yeah, 5% redistribution. I'm trying to find out what their total supply is. That's
I'm looking at two. I know it's one of those big supplies, and I know they do burns and stuff.
I don't even know why I'm looking, because they're all the same. But
well, they're the same, but they're different. They're the same general template with different details, basically.
Okay, so here we go. Perfect. 420 quadrillion. All right. 125 quadrillion burned. So 295 quadrillion are in circulation.
Is that all?
That's all. Just 295 quadrillion. It's crazy, because people thought we were nuts back in 2014 with Doge's numbers, like 100 billion, which is what it was back then. People thought we were nuts. And like, I did the math in 2014, and I'm like, 100 billion's not that crazy. At the time, it was the first coin to do something like that, like numbers wise, and people thought we were crazy. And now we're talking about quadrillions, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think it's crazy now, but who knows? In 10 years, 20 years, maybe hundreds of quadrillion won't be that many. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that what's interesting is now, Nick, is that we know now it's got to be pretty much inevitable that Elon now knows who baby, I was about to say Baby Shark, but Baby Doge is now. Because I'm sure he's realized that he accidentally pumped this thing. And I'm sure he's aware of it now. Just as like he accidentally gave the Sea Rocket one night, he accidentally tweeted something that could have been misinterpreted through emojis as giving a shout out to the Sea Rocket, and they saw a pump one night, right? And I think same thing happened with him, where I think people, and he's a very curious creature of the internet and Twitter, so I'm sure that after he did that, he's like, wait, there's a there's a token called Sea Rocket, and it pumped because of me. Like, what is this? So it's interesting because here we have a phenomenon where tokens are getting created every day around what these people that start them perceive to be Elon's interests. Or they start them off of a tweet, something he referenced in a tweet. Or they start, obviously, to kind of piggyback around Doge, which is, I got mixed feelings about the baby Dogecoin branding, because it's obvious what they try to do with the branding, right? It's obviously a direct riding a coattail scenario off of Dogecoin. But at the same time, from what I've seen anyway, if someone can bring me data that's not very favorable, or information that's not very favorable to the folks that are running Baby Doge, I'm open to it. But from what I've seen, the community anyway is very respectful. From what I've seen too, like most all of them are Dogecoin holders and love Dogecoin and have a lot of respect for the OG. It just seems like the overall tone of that community is pretty positive, especially comparatively to some of its competitors in that sector and section of the market. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I don't listen. I like I said, I don't personally hold any Doge knockoffs, just because I'm not going to put my money into a knockoff project when I don't need to. At this point, I've got so much money it just wouldn't benefit me. But if a BSC or an ERC20 or so one of these sub-chain tokens decides to craft themselves in line, or basically with the Doge brand, as long as the community and the people in it are cool, and the operation is being run correctly, meaning it's not a rug, and the creators aren't doing anything wild with their tokens, I'd wish them all the best. I am not a hater by any means. I wish everyone success so long as they are cool people and they are respectful to the primary creator community, essentially, which is Doge. If they get along, they're cool people, they're doing good work, I can't knock them. If they want to try and use a little Doge clout to pump their concept, have at it. It doesn't. Right. I don't. People would be like, well, it takes away from the market cap of Doge. Whatever. Yeah. I don't care. It literally doesn't bother me at all. If it costs me a fraction of a point on my spread, I don't care.
Yeah, but how much really does it eat in? Yeah.
It really. I mean, together, I think the aggregate of it, if you combine them all, I think it's semi-significant, but not a drop in the bucket to what is Doge, the 5th largest coin in the world right now?
Yeah, in the world.
So, yeah. I mean, you really can't. I would have never expected to see this day. So if somebody wants to take a little piece of the pie, eat up, as long as you're cool.
Yeah, you and I have very similar opinions on this. And from what I've seen, we're kind of in a minority of Doge-centric content creators with that perspective. From what I've seen, it's either people are completely anti, this whole thing, or they're just all just knee deep on shitcoins, or to the point of absurdity, where you and I more have
middle of the road, moderate positions on these, where to me, it's what's most important is that investors understand the context of what they're entering into, right? Just as long as they understand when you invest in the BSC world, much higher volatility, much higher risk. Be prepared to lose your ass, because there's a much higher chance of it happening than when you're investing in, the top 50 coins. That's the thing, Steven. A lot of newer investors who are like YOLO BSC people who put all their money onto these quadrillion capped BFC projects. Some of these people, here's the problem. I mean, if you overlaid, with the exception of the Sea Rocket and Baby Doge, if you overlaid all of these graphs, like take any like semi-popular BSC, they all have the same graph. And the graph is they explode in the beginning, and then they fall back down to nothing. Not nothing, but they hit this insane all-time high from where they started, and then it just dwindles out into just kind of like nothing, basically. And by the way, guys, this is what happened with Doge 7 years ago. Same exact thing. Big pump in the beginning, kind of went up, and then it went down, and then it stayed there for 7 years. So I just want people who are YOLO BSC people to understand, if you're really trying to make money off of BFC flips, you have to be quick. Like, you have to be in at the very, very beginning, and you have to get out when after that initial burst comes, because unless you plan on holding it for 10 years or more, maybe, you might never see that again.
We are entering a very interesting turn in the conversation here, Nick, that I think is worth exploring. And someone else said in the chat, Shidoshi, Baby Doge had been pumping before his tweet. That is true. Baby Doge had been pumping before. I would like to make that distinction. The Baby Dogecoin has one of the stronger communities in the BSC world. But to get back to what we're talking about here, two things come to mind now. Do you think it's possible that there will be a couple BSCs that will be surprise solid long-term investments where they lay dormant for years and then spring up? Or don't you think that's a possibility? Do you think it's possible that a couple of them could do that in the way Doge did?
I will put this into a grander context. Because of the ease of creation with BFC tokens in general. So how little money it takes to start and how many are now created. I do believe that there will be a very, let's say, I think 1% would be generous, but let's just say 1% for round numbers. 1% of the total BSC tokens that have ever been created will see some sort of secondary price action years and years and years down the road. And it might happen on the next bull cycle. It might happen several bull cycles from now. But it will happen. I think it'll be a very, very, very small percentage of these BSCs. So if you're back in my day, it was easy to do this with Doge because there just weren't very many coins at the time. So I could put all of my money into Doge, and there was like, you know, a handful of other projects, and that was about it. So the chances of something working out were much greater. Now the chances are so small that you would see something like Doge happen again with a BSC. It's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's very, very, very unlikely. So, and to say which one it'll be, or which handful it'll be, everyone says their project is the right one. And there's literally tens of thousands of them now. So you've opened up, you know, all of these doors, tens of thousands of doors, and more being created every single day. It's to pick the right one now. I mean, it was a game of chance with me, but at least that game was a lot easier to win. Now, I think mathematically it's impossible to win. It would be sheer luck.
Yeah, not impossible, but it'd more be like a lottery scenario.
Correct. And probably more, I mean, I'd have to run the numbers on it, but I think it would be more mathematically unlikely. I think you would be more likely to win the actual lottery.
So I'm trying to think of the other question that came to mind. Also, too, I do think it's possible, and I see this potential anyway with Baby Doge. Now, we talk about the general charting template for most BSCs, how that usually works. If they're fortunate enough to have one parabolic spike, if they're fortunate enough to even have that bestow their token, usually that's it. It's a one-time thing that kind of flatlines after that, never to return, and then the community and the token fades and it's done, right? That's usually what happens. There are a couple exceptions, right, that we're seeing now. We're still too early in this entire experiment to know how this plays out from what I'm seeing. And it'll be interesting to see going forward, Nick. What I'm saying is, if there are few BSCs that are going to be able to stabilize at higher levels and maybe even be capable of some slower, steadier growth going forward, do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell. The problem is that the time that it'll take to tell is going to be a long time. And real quick, I just want to answer a question. Ariel in the chat asked me if I remember the philanthropic, how philanthropic Doge was in the beginning, the wells that were built in Africa, the other fundraisers, and yes, I do. In fact, that's about all, other than the memes and the fun that we were having back then, that's pretty much all we were doing. Like, I gave away so much Doge. At some point in time, the amount of Doge I will have given away is going to total $1 million. Like, that's like, so
wow.
To think about giving away, you know, it obviously wasn't back then. It was only hundreds of dollars, maybe 1,000 or so. But, you know, eventually that money's going to add up. But
right.
Yes, I do remember what it was like back then. And I did donate to most, if not all of those projects at one point.
You know, it's interesting because obviously there's never been a CEO of Dogecoin. So were these philanthropic ventures that were executed back then, ventures that were just organized like on Reddit?
Yeah, they were, from what I remember, which obviously clearly my memory is not to be trusted, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that each one of those campaigns was just like put together by a few people and, you know, supported by the community.
Right.
I know that the Doge hack wallet to refund all the people who got hacked was. I think the devs did put that together, but I could be wrong about that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So that's interesting. So do you think some of that's been lost along the way, or do you think it's just, or no, it's just kind of changing? Sorry, I got a Doge. Sorry, I got a Doge here in the background making some noise. Go ahead.
It's all good. So in regards to the philanthropic nature of
yes.
the Doge community?
Yes.
I think it's just evolving, and I think that we're not. So we're not seeing like the big like community stuff as much anymore. Mainly because now, well, two reasons. Doge is valued way higher than it was before.
Right.
So I think, getting people to donate now is like a mental barrier, like when before it wasn't, because people would just give it away. Like people give away BSCs today. Back then they would give away Doge just the same. And now Doge is worth so much that, people don't necessarily want to just give it all away. And I think the second reason is because now Doge is connected to so many charities directly, like the American Cancer Society. There's a few others that are like slipping my mind right now, but so people, and I have personally, I'm going to have to personally donate a ton of money next year for taxable purposes. So it's just a lot easier now to donate Dogecoin and have it, you can use it as a tax write-off. Which long ago there was you couldn't do that. So, or it wouldn't even be worth it really. So, I think that, once a general adoption is going to kind of bring back some of that in a large way, but we see these pushes every time Doge hits a new like all-time high. There's usually some sort of like interesting charity event that goes on or something like that. So I think we'll see more of it. It's just that's pretty much back in the day. That's all we had. So, that was like, those were big things back then because that was it. We didn't have anything else going on.
Yeah. So it was, that makes sense. And those are good answers. Let's see what's going on in the chat.
You want to touch on Ethereum real quick before I head out?
Yep. So what's been happening lately is Ethereum's daily transactions have been really competitive with Bitcoin's daily transactions now, so much to the point that now there are, on some days, there's more Ethereum transactions going on than Bitcoin transactions. You and I, Nick, were some of the first people to talk about a possibility of a near future wherein Bitcoin dominance gets challenged. And we were talking about this when not really any other content creators were even entertaining this as a immediate future possibility. I see this as a signal that we were right. I don't know how else to interpret something like this. This is massive. This is major. Does this mean that Bitcoin is going to get flipped in the next few months? No. But what it does signal, in my opinion, is that this is the beginning of a serious challenge to Bitcoin dominance. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm looking at the Ethereum transactions per day chart right now. Of course, transactions for Ethereum peaked in May with 1.716 million transactions per day. I'm sorry, was that correct? The graph is glitched out. Never mind, I think that's about right though. Yeah, that's right. 1.716 million in May. Of course, this was peak market. But as of recently, June 28th, they flipped over Bitcoin with 1.4 million transactions per day. Right now, it's about 1.12 million transactions per day. The average growth rate of transactions per day is 352.3%, which is just insane. So yeah, I do think that we're going to see Ethereum Ethereum will take over in transactions per day, like permanently, eventually. Only because the store of value of Bitcoin is eventually going to get to the point where it doesn't make sense to even trade it. So, like as we all know, most of the transaction volume occurs from exchanges. Well, if the price of Bitcoin becomes so high, it's gonna make no sense to try and trade it, and you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose whatever I think the fee is 0.0075% or something like that on most exchanges. Pretty standard on most exchanges, around there. So eventually, Bitcoin is going to become worth so much money that it's not going to be worth it for a lot of these traders to do. So what are they going to do? They're going to go to their second best option to make money. What is that? That's Ethereum.
Right.
And likewise, as we've seen through Binance's user data, the number 2 trading pair has always been Bitcoin and Doge for the past, just because the earnings potential is so high. So instead of transferring out to Tether, which is what a lot of traders do, they're putting it in Doge, because the possibility for gains is so much greater and the fees are so much lower. So and Doge is about to get kicked down another notch in fees too. So the fees are going to drop even more, which they're already really low. So yeah, I mean, I think this is great news. I think Ethereum's doing really well. Ethereum is my next major move. Most people know I don't own any Ethereum, which is dumb. I should. That's why I haven't bought any NFTs or anything. But yeah, I think Ethereum is definitely going to catch on as far as like amount of Ethereum that's being passed back and forth on a daily basis.
Yeah, definitely. And this is only going to become more pronounced as the pairing begins to evolve and shape up between Doge and Ethereum. I think long term, this looks extremely well for both Doge and Ethereum, and which is why I'm most bullish on these two cryptocurrencies more than anything else. And that is where I am most invested, is between Ethereum and Dogecoin. And I personally think that when we look back in 3 years, the market value of Ethereum and Dogecoin in 3 years from now, I think is going to be just phenomenal. Compared
it's
to
funny because we look at guys like BitBoy Crypto. I sent you a funny picture of him the other day, by the way.
Yeah.
He, it's people like this, like people like BitBoy Crypto. By the way, guys, BitBoy Crypto and I got involved in cryptocurrencies the same year in 2012. And, he thinks that Bitcoin is just going to be this market leader forever. And it is literally changing in front of his eyes. And he's like, how can this be happening? Right. I know he doesn't say that, but I know he's thinking it back in his mind. And I will drop this one last nugget of information before I head out. I watch, as many people know, I keep up pretty well with CryptoFace, who's a very well-known, popular crypto swing / day trader. He's the creator of that market cipher software, which I think is pretty darn good. And he recently, today, he's cool because he live streams his trades. Like, very few people do that. Like, very few people live stream like what they're doing exactly.
Who is this you're talking about?
His name is CryptoFace.
Oh, CryptoFace, yeah.
Yeah. Very well known.
Yeah, I know CryptoFace is, yep.
He's on BitBoy's show all the time.
Yep.
And today he has been shorting Bitcoin for since the last few crashes. And his whole opinion on Bitcoin was that the market's gonna dissolve, everything's going back down. He said it could go back down to like 13,000. He had this whole theory laid out, and today I took a look at his video, and the title is $3 million Bitcoin long position. And so
3 million?
Yeah, he trades on leverage. So he doesn't trade anything. I think the lowest amount that he trades is like 1 or 2 million US.
Wow.
Yeah. But keep in mind he's trading on leverage, so like he makes, I would say his average haul when he's trading, and he doesn't trade all the time, because he doesn't have to when you're trading with that kind of leverage. But yeah, he trades probably like 2 or 3 times a week, and his average haul is usually between 100 to $500,000 per day.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah. So he now believes that the market is going to rebound, and I tend to agree. I think that this bull run, if you would have measured it out in longevity, let's just say, for example, the bull run's over, right?
Right.
Bull run's done. It would have been the shortest bull run in history, and the way the market is acting is so strange that like it just doesn't make sense. Right. I think we're in for a major second pop. And now, could it come down from there? For sure. And it will. But I think the market is going to soar back to life. I'm not going to make any predictions about when or why or where or how, but I just have this feeling that things are going to start popping off again. And it's going to make what we saw look like peanuts.
I certainly hope you're right. I think there's plenty of reason to anticipate that. And I think when this next bull run really begins, it'll be very obvious.
Yes, correct. But on that note, I do have to get going. I have so much driving I have to do tomorrow. Oh my God, I got to drive. For those who don't know, my girlfriend lives like an hour away. We're going to go see her tomorrow. Gotcha. And then I got to drive back. And then I got to pick up my mom. And then I got to drive to my dad's house. And then I got to drive her. But it's like, I'm going to be in a car all day tomorrow. So
no worries, my friend. No worries. Thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure, Nick.
Always, Steven. I appreciate it. Listeners, thank you so much. Feel free to hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks, Nick. Guys, if you want to follow Nick Ballz on Twitter, just start typing in Nick Ballz, just as it's spelled in the title. He'll pops up right away. But feel free to give Nick a follow there. And it's always a pleasure co-hosting with him. And sorry I didn't get to your super chat earlier, Josh Rendell. I hope you're still around. Once in a while that happens when we just get caught up talking about all sorts of things, and I got a bunch of tabs open here and things that I'm looking at. So my apologies for the delay on that. But Josh Rendell coming in with $10 super chat. Thank you for that so much, Josh. Says the Doge paper hands noobs don't get that our community is all about patience. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Patience is really where the money is made in terms of coins like Ethereum, coins like Dogecoin, coins like Bitcoin, etc. It's a lot of it is a waiting game. Now the BSCs, it's really it's really a kind of a different template, and one that's still being established because it's such a high volatility market. There's just such a high risk, high volatility market still. So I wouldn't say that same template applies to BSCs at this time. So you just have to keep a closer eye on things and never invest more than you can afford to lose, obviously. It's always a good staple to live by. So Yeah, guys, you're listening to your man, Real Deal Steven Steele, coming to you live Saturday night. Steven Steele live. We're talking about an assortment of things here. If you're also, if you haven't hit that like button, if you could just take a moment to smash that like. I know, notice we're a little low on the likes tonight compared to we usually are. If you could just take a moment to do that, it takes a split second of your time, doesn't cost you a dime, and it really helps. If you haven't hit that like button, if you could just do that quick, it's a big help to us. Also, if you're new here, I'd like to personally welcome you. My name's Steven Steele, and I do a near nightly show here in our community. We've been going about 2.5 months now. We've just been growing exponentially and just having a great time on our ascendance to the moon and beyond. So feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also, super chats are obviously super appreciated for my time and efforts. And memberships are now available as well through the link pinned at the top of the chat. I'm going to take a look at what else I had on the roster that I wanted to talk about this evening. Just kind of opening my notes here. And let's see. Let's see where they went. Oh, another thing too, in regards to Ethereum, I think I'm personally of the opinion that right now still is a very advantageous time, not financial advice, is a very advantageous time to still be buying Ethereum. Right now it's sitting at about a little over 2,200. And I do think the long-term projections for Ethereum, even by end of year, should be looking pretty darn strong, guys, from everything that I've been seeing. And like we talked about yesterday with Robinhood, Robinhood announced that Dogecoin accounts for 35% of all its crypto revenue. That is an astronomical amount. Another thing that I've been noticing too, unrelated, is the Motley Fool. Those of you who watch the show know that I pick on and make fun of the Motley Fool semi-regularly. It's a real clickbaity kind of website. Motley Fool's been around a while, predominantly specializing in stocks and stock portfolios. Well, they've recently flirted into the foray of cryptocurrencies because that's just where the trends are going, and they need to keep up with it to keep interest and keep up with the time. So the Motley Fool has made one of the hallmarks of the Motley Fool's business template lately has been to write disparaging articles about Dogecoin with real clickbaity headlines. What they've discovered is that if they put Dogecoin in the title of the article, they get more clicks. So I mean it. They do this. They'll come out with 2 to 3 articles per day disparaging Dogecoin, and almost all the titles say the same thing, just with a little bit of different wordplay. It'd always be like, forget Dogecoin, try these 3 new stocks instead. Or Dogecoin will never make you a millionaire, but these 3 stocks can. And so what they do is they use Dogecoin in the title to clickbait you to their site. And then once they have you there, they suggest to you stocks that they want to see do well, that their team has in their portfolios. Well, a new trend has been emerging with the Motley Fool lately, where now they don't exclusively write disparaging articles about Dogecoin. Now they write both kind of more either somewhat even-handed and even a little bit favorable articles to Dogecoin too, mixed in with all the super negative articles about Dogecoin. So now they're just writing a ton about Dogecoin, good and bad, just to bring more traffic there. And to me, this is a very unique a business template that I haven't seen executed before. It's just hilarious to me. Savannah Knight coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Savannah. Appreciate it. She says, new investor considering trying BSCs. Thought I might start with Baby Doge and Upcoin, but now that Baby Doge has shot up, should I skip it? This is a really good question. Savannah. I'm not quite sure. Let me take a look at where it's at right now. Baby Dogecoin is in a very unique place because typically my advice to you would be absolutely do not buy Baby Dogecoin now. But at the same time, Baby Dogecoin has doubled since yesterday. And typically most people that are more savvy BSC investors and have more experience in that, a lot of them, and I know a lot of them, they sold their Baby Dogecoin yesterday. Typically, yesterday would have been seen as an apex of a BSC, but now, as it stands now, anyway, at this moment in time, Baby Dogecoin is literally doubled in value since that time yesterday. Tara suggests, are you already invested in ETH? You might want to try that instead. That's a good suggestion as well, Savannah. This is what I would suggest for you. This is not, the disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. But what I always suggest for BSCs is to make sure, I see BSCs in your portfolio as like dessert. Dessert is what you have to indulge yourself. Dessert is like a side of your whole 3-course meal, right? It's a small part of your 3-course meal. But if you have all dessert, it's not good for you. But it's good to indulge. It's fun, right? Just as long as you don't go overboard. So that's kind of how I see BSCs. I called BSCs. I called any cryptocurrency that you have to use Pancake Swap to acquire. I call that the red light district of cryptocurrency. I call Pancake Swap the red light district of cryptocurrency, and I tweeted that out a couple months ago, and it went pretty viral. So now that it's funny to hear my own term come back to me and used out there now, it's funny. But so what I would do is I would put a little bit of money towards the BSCs for fun, also to familiarize yourself with the process because it's a little bit tricky. And I think that would be good just so you know how to acquire it and go through the process. So just put a little bit of money in there, but nothing that's going to stress you out. And then put the majority of your investment money that you can invest right now anyway, in something more a bit more safe, like Ethereum. I think is a great investment. So I guess that's what my advice would be to you in regards to which BSC. Upcoin could be decent long term. Baby Doge, I mean, why not? Sure, why not sink a little bit into it right now? For all we know, the way Baby Doge is going, let me look at it again. I would wait a little bit. I think it's in the process of dipping more right now. I think eventually within the next day, I think we're going to see a more sizable retracement of Baby Doge, but I still wouldn't count Baby Doge out to keep rising in large fashion. So sure, why not stick, $150, $200 in Baby Doge, something like that. So yeah, that's my advice. I hope that's helpful. Steve, why do these new coins, red light district coins, do not need miners, or am I wrong? Like I know how to answer. I do have a decent understanding of this, but I'm having a hard time explaining it because it's not my expertise trucking all day. So let me just ponder that. Let me just ponder that a little longer and circle back to you on it. Swift says it's on a good run right now for sure. Yeah, it is. Right now it is in a retracement, but it so far tonight it's been handling its retracements like it's been handling them very well. Very well, guys. So there was an interesting article that came out about where some experts predicted what cryptocurrencies would look like in 50 years. And which is interesting. And CNBC reported about this. And one of the experts concluded this. It was Ivory Johnson, who's a financial planner for Delancey Wealth Management. She said, cryptocurrencies will disrupt traditional finance because of one of their most attractive utilities is the ability to effectively transfer payment across borders with little to no cost, delay, or foreign currency fluctuations. With respect to Bitcoin, 50 years is a long time, and Bitcoin could either become the world's reserve currency or the next AOL that made a lot of people wealthy until it was unseated by better technology. I actually agree with Ivy Johnson on this. I do not think that Bitcoin, it's a foregone conclusion that Bitcoin is going to become the world's reserve currency. I think that it's quite possible that that competition from a few other cryptocurrencies with better tech could replace them. I think it's a possibility anyway. But I will say, with that in mind, I think I'd lean that it's more probable that over a 50-year time it would be the world's most prominent reserve currency. I'm looking at some other parts of this article to see if there's any more pertinent meat I could give you guys out of it. Dan Egan, who's the vice president of behavioral finance and investing and betterment, said cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have proven themselves useful for money movement and speculation, and they're unlikely to go away, but where and how we'll generate the energy to meet the demand of crypto market is worth considering, as well as whether state actors who view it as a competitor to fiat power will make it even more of a black market commodity. This is kind of like some good and not so good points I think Dan Egan made here. You know, it's one of these things where he states how we're going to generate the energy to meet the demand of the growing crypto market. This is something I'm not terribly concerned about. Firstly, cryptocurrency, even the most energy consuming cryptocurrency being Bitcoin, is still a lot more green friendly and energy efficient than the current fiat system. So to me, this is always an interesting point of contention that's made by folks, financial planners, and Wall Street and the like, and the traditional financial establishment. But that being said, green miners and green mining practices are already becoming so popular, and I already see the market correcting itself on this issue pretty efficiently going forward. Let me see what else is going on in the chat here. Alan says, I'll be surprised if I live another 50 years with technological advancements exponentially go up in speed. Hopefully it's sooner. I think it will be. I think it will be, Alan. Hector the Dude says, Bitcoin is now accepted at Home Depot. Pretty cool. All right, guys. I'm sorry I had to take care of something really quick there. Hector says ADA is way undervalued. You know, that's a fair point to make, but also, Hector, it might not matter if it's undervalued or not. I think the tech on ADA is sound and solid and good. So from a utility standpoint, ADA is a pretty solid project. But I mean, I hate to say it, that might not matter though. That might not matter if it can't get if it can't keep growing its community and its enthusiasm. I think Charles Hodgkinson's is part of the problem there. I think he's a bit of a wet blanket in the way he's handled the PR on ADA, frankly, and talking so much smack about Dogecoin and talking so much smack about Elon. And I just don't think, for somebody that's trying to be a top 3 crypto contender, I just think these are enormous missteps. I will say, and plus, like, we kind of threw a tantrum on Mark Cuban one day on Twitter. I will say that he has been recalibrating since then, as indicated on his podcast appearance with Lex Friedman. So let's just see how that plays out going forward. So yeah. Do you guys have any other questions for me? Feel free to put them in the chat. Guys. And there was another article that came out today that showed the 10 best cryptocurrencies to invest in according to Reddit. And just taking a look at what's on this list now, you guys. And to me, what is most notable about this list is guess who's not on it? Guess who's not on the top 10 cryptocurrencies to invest in according to Reddit? Dogecoin's not on it. Give me a break. How can you even talk about this and make a list like this with any credibility without having Dogecoin on the top 10 cryptos to invest in? Are you kidding me? Right now, Dogecoin is sitting comfortably at the 6th highest market cap of all cryptos in the world. And it was number 4. It even got up to number 4, almost getting to number 3 not so long ago. To me, this is... And knowing that there's going to be Tesla integration, knowing that there is an Ethereum pairing, to me, it sinks the credibility of the rest of the list. It really does. No, Slay Blaze, Doge wasn't on this list that I'm looking at. It wasn't on the list that I'm looking at. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, guys. So I got yeah, I guess I can announce another guest that I'm having next week. I got an awesome woman coming in who's very entrenched in the crypto world and investment, and just very interesting woman from Australia. Her name is Sadith Jadran. Sadith Jadran. And so she hails from Australia, and she's a very savvy and interesting woman. So we're going to have her on, I think, Thursday this next week. So watch out for that. I'll be making the artwork and the link for that for you guys to be able to bookmark it. And then I've got one more special guest, too, that I'm still working on for this next week as well, in addition to Nick, of course. So I'll keep you posted on that. Terry Reed, I see your membership badge has upgraded to your second month of membership by the color change. So congratulations on that. I'm now just starting to see those. I'm now just starting to see a few of those turn colors now. It's pretty cool. And a few of you have asked me to comment on what's going on with the Rise token, which involves a few of the members of the Doge community. There seems to be a little bit of I think that just launched a couple days ago. There seems to be some back and forth, some contention going on about some questions being raised around its launch. I don't know enough about what's going on with it. I'm just going to kind of stay out of it, guys, at this time. I'm just not going to comment on that any further at this time. Badge colors change with time, eh? Yes, that is true, Slay Blaze. They do. And so now we are just starting to see the beginning of the badge changes with the very first members. And Slay Blaze and Alan, you guys, I think your badge's color should be changing any day now too. I know Struckin' All Days is a different color. Terry's is a different color. And Bang Stuns is a different color. So they all change color with time. Tara says, I think I figured out why Elon changed his name to Elon the Second the other day. He apparently is now the second richest man in the world. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's related to that, but it's a pretty good theory. Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world technically right now, and they have toggled back and forth in the past, right? They've toggled back and forth in the past between being first and second. This article comes courtesy of a Market Insider. Elon Musk is losing his power over the crypto community after his latest tweets failed to boost Dogecoin or Bitcoin. Elon Musk's tweets seem to have some of their power over crypto. Elon Musk's tweets seem to have. Oh, it's a typo in the article. It just says they needed to put the word lost, but they don't even have the word lost in it. So it just says Elon Musk's tweets seem to have some of their power. I think that meant to say lost some of their power over the crypto community recently. Investors are no longer listening and are realizing his tweets shouldn't be a deciding factor, one trader says. Robinhood this week said its business could be hurt if Dogecoin demand declines. The Elon Musk effect. a popular phenomenon that roiled the crypto ecosystem this year, with every little tweet from Tesla boss could send token prices skyrocketing or plummeting. Seems to be losing its luster. Musk tweeted his support for Dogecoin on Thursday by saying, "Release the Doge," alongside the Godfather-inspired meme depicting actor Marlon Brando. The coin's price lifted slightly, but not as much as one would have, much as it would have a few months ago. For instance, Dogecoin surged 20% in May when he ran a Twitter poll to ask whether people wanted Tesla to accept it as payment. Musk sent out another tweet on Friday with an image of a man on his laptop, seemingly laser focused on Dogecoin and the game Polytopia on the screen. It seems investors are no longer listening and are finally realizing that the tweets of one man should not be the deciding factor for whether they should buy or sell assets, says Andrea Clark, sales trader at UK-based digital asset broker Global Block. What are my thoughts on this, folks? I think to a degree this is true, and to another degree it's excessive. It's excessive. It depends. Again, in my opinion, it depends how he's tweeting about it. That makes the difference. So I think the novelty has worn thin on as far as how the market reflects on, like, Elon posting a Dogecoin meme or Dogecoin memes. That certainly doesn't have the same effect that it used to. However, what did have an effect is when Elon asked and polled the crowd if Tesla should accept Dogecoin. That had a dramatic effect, you see. And also, his baby Doge, baby Doge, that tweet had a massive effect on baby Doge, the token. So there is significant movement happening. It just depends on which context he tweets now. So certain kinds of tweets that used to move the market don't anymore. The novelty's worn thin on those. That doesn't mean that Elon's influence has been totally minimized over the crypto market. I wouldn't say that at all. It's just that people go, okay, we've seen the memes, that's cool, but we want to hear some answers. We want to hear some plans. We want to hear some game-changing information. So whenever he alludes to something like that, we do see a much more significant effect on the market. So I think that when Elon announces, and I do believe he will, it's not a matter of when, or not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he announces that you can purchase Teslas with Dogecoin, I think that's going to have a dramatic impact on the market value of Dogecoin. And I think it's going to affect the general overall crypto market positively. Also, in relation to any just concrete business dealings for expanding the usability of Dogecoin, I think anything like that will continue to have a dramatic effect in a positive way on Dogecoin, and as well as Bitcoin, because he also told us that he basically is planning on bringing Bitcoin back on board for Tesla integration too, once it becomes a more of an energy efficient scenario. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat, catching up on what you guys had to say. All right, gang. Well, been going for about 2 hours here. And it also looks like Baby Doge's retracement is Well, that's coming up again. I wouldn't count Baby Doge out. Would I invest in it right now at its near apex? I'd still think it'd be decent to put a little money into it now. Sure. Anyway, there we have it, guys. I want to thank all of you for tuning in and hanging out with me tonight on this Saturday night. Really appreciate it. Thanks again. If you haven't subscribed already, I would encourage you to subscribe and join our community. And also, I'm going to put a link to our Discord. I'm going to put the Discord link in the chat too. Obviously, the Discord is a 24/7 affair, so feel free to join the Discord as well. Hey, Miles G is in the chat. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. Miles, anytime you want to come on the show to be my special guest, you are more than welcome, my friend. I would love to have you. And I really appreciate you swinging by. Slayblaze says, I would be up for getting into the Starlink beta, but 5G web seems further for promising for a near future. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. I've been streaming for a little over 2 hours tonight. I again appreciate each and every one of you for swinging in. And again, I want to thank Miles G for coming in and saying what's up at the end. Love what you do, Miles, and would love to have you on the show sometime. Thanks for swinging through. Guys, thanks again for tuning in. This was an awesome episode, and we will be back tomorrow night at the same bat time, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're going to do it to it. So stay tuned, and until next time, this is Steven Steele signing out. Just the bees and birds, the summer hay.